Hello, everybody. Mindfulness practice is intentional. Much of what we do when we are practicing mindfulness is intentional. It's not just sitting down and breathing, it's not just sitting down and being still with your legs crossed and crisscross applesauce. It's intentional. Not only are the actions intentional, the attitudes are intentional as well. And we're going to continue our discussion about the attitudes, the foundational attitudes that support and encourage a mindful lifestyle. And we're going to get to that in just a moment. Hey there, I'm Marcyline Bailey, your host of Stress Talk Live with Marcyline. This is where we help women over 40 to live healthier lives through strategic stress management and solution focused self care. I'm so glad you joined us today. We're going to continue our discussion of how to create an amazing lifestyle through mindfulness. And we've been talking about the foundational attitudes that support and encourage mindfulness. So we couldn't get through the entire list last week, so we're going to finish that list this week. Before we get to it, I always have to ask you to make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to ML Bailey Consultants. You'll find it on YouTube, Facebook, as well as Instagram. Subscribe, follow, and like. Also, if you want to learn more about ML Bailey Consultants, you can always go to this link. This is where I share links to my website, to the sign up form for my newsletter, as well as to the podcast. Yes, there is a Stress Talk podcast, and you can hear that on, oh my goodness, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, yeah, and even iHeartRadio. So go there, listen to the podcast as well. And this is where you can find my websites. I am at mlbaileyconsultants.com. Woo-wee. Okay, so we're just going to jump into it. Give me a second to get our ticker going. We're going to start with gratitude, but I wanted to do a quick review of the attitudes, the foundational attitudes that we covered last week. The first one was acceptance. And with acceptance, and I'm looking over this way because that is actually where I have some of my notes. So if I'm looking that way, it's not like I'm looking at somebody, I'm looking at my notes. Okay, so acceptance. Let me get back on target. Acceptance. Acceptance is acknowledgement. It's just acknowledging that it is what it is. What is happening right now is just what's happening right now. We don't have to like it. We don't have to dislike it. It's just the way it is. Also, we talked about non-judging. Non-judging is basically have an opinion. And as women, as people, we always have an opinion about something. And our opinions are relational, meaning that we are often comparing something against something else. Whether it's we're comparing our thoughts against someone else's thoughts, our beliefs against someone else's beliefs, what we see against what we think we should see. So non-judging is also a foundational attitude of mindfulness. Basically, yes, we withhold our opinion or our judgment. Also, there's non striving. Non striving is basically we're fully present in the moment, meaning that we're not trying to get to the next thing. We're not trying to be in the future. We're not trying to change anything. We're not trying to make it better. We're not trying to change it. We're not trying to alter it because to do so means that we're not in that present. We are not in a place where we are accepting. So, non striving is being in the present moment. We also talked about letting go and letting be. Some of you know this as letting go and letting God. That's if that's what you believe. That's really great. Letting go and letting be again is very similar to um, not holding on to those things that might be hurtful to us, or not holding on to those things that we find exciting and dear. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't enjoy the things that are exciting and meaningful to us. Absolutely, we should. But sometimes we hold it in a way that there's nothing else because we're trying to push away the things that are uncomfortable or cause us discomfort. So letting go essentially means that we are, it is what it is again. It is acceptance basically, but we're not holding on to, we're not hoarding, we're not cramming the things that um, the things that are uncomfortable or negative, and we're not clinging or grasping or trying to gain or hold on to the things that were were pleasurable to us in the past. We talked about patience, and I think I shared that patience is one of my it's one of the things that I've had to learn, I've struggled with, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who has struggled with patience. But when it comes to mindfulness, being patient is about not striving to be there, not striving to be in a different place, not striving to be down the road a piece, not, not working hard to get out of the present moment. Patience means being able to sit in the present moment without judgment, without striving, trusting yourself, but without that push to be somewhere else. Because think about it, if we're trying to be someone somewhere else, even if it's mentally or emotionally, we're missing details of the present. Think about that. We can actually miss details of the present. So let me share, and I know I said I was not going to elaborate. I was just running through these, but there is a thought that comes to mind, and if you have when you're in a conversation, oftentimes we are thinking about our next statement. We're thinking about the next thing we're going to say, or the answer or the response to what we're hearing. And because of that, we're not attuned to what is being said. We're making assumptions about what's being said or anticipating what's going to be said. In that regard, we're not being patient. We are not being in the present. We are not paying attention on purpose. We are jumping. We are impatient. So we want to practice patience. That is a foundational attitude of mindfulness. We also talked about trust. And trust means that we have the wisdom, knowledge, and authority to live a life that is meaningful. And we need to trust that we do. We have the wisdom, knowledge, and authority to live a life that's meaningful. We also have to trust that um, we're capable of finding the right answer for ourselves. Um, we often go to other people for answers. Other people can help guide us to the right answer. Other people can help guide us to what is best for us. But we're the ones who have to make that decision. And we have to trust, again, that we have the wisdom, knowledge, and authority to make that decision so that we can live a life that's meaningful. We talked about a beginner's mind, and I shared that a beginner's mind is probably one of my favorite principles, attitudes, I should say, foundational attitudes, because it reminds me of being childlike. It reminds me of being of the wonder of everything. When you look at and watch children, children, especially young kids, like toddlers, everything is amazing to them. They're seeing it for the first time. They may, or they're seeing it, maybe not for the first time, but they're seeing it again and they see something new and something different, and it's exciting to them. Approaching life with a beginner's mind, where we're curious about things, where we're seeing things as if we're seeing it for the first time, will open up a whole new opportunity for us to see new things, to experience newness. It's really kind of exciting when you think about it. It is for me, because sometimes the older we get, or the more experience we've had in life, we become jaded to things. We become jaded, and we're like, oh, it's the same old thing. Oh, and I'm not interested in that. But just imagine trying to see it from a different perspective, or trying to see it anew with a beginner's mind. It just opens up so much more. I saw an Instagram post, or maybe a reel, the other day, and it was, oh, you know what? I think it was Facebook. Sorry, you all. It was Facebook. But it was a little kid, and he was maybe 3 years old, and he had bubbles. Do you remember the bubbles that you blow through the little loopy circle thing and bubbles come out? And he blew, and he was like, and all of these bubbles started coming out. And he got so tickled. It was like, he got so tickled. He started laughing, and he was stomping his feet, and he was jumping up and down. He was so excited about those bubbles. We've seen bubbles a million times. A lot of us, we've played with bubbles when we were younger, probably made bubbles when we were kids. But just imagine being able to see that with a brand new pair of eyes, or a brand new attitude, a beginner's mind. So let's go into the remaining foundational attitudes of mindfulness. And why is this important? Why am I going over these? Because I firmly believe that if we practice these attitudes, whether or not we use them in a mindfulness practice, I believe that they can change our life. They can change how we interact and react and respond to the world around us, to the people we encounter on a day to day basis, to our environment. It can really change a lot of things. And I believe they are key to living an amazing life and creating an amazing lifestyle. And because these are foundational principles of mindfulness, if we practice these, we are essentially practicing, we've incorporated mindfulness into our lives. So that's why I'm going over it. That's why I'm talking about it and stressing the importance. So let's continue. Gratitude. Oh, gratitude. So Gratitude is often thought of being thankful, being thankful for what we have, being thankful for something someone has done for you or done for us, being thankful, being grateful, extending gratitude, showing gratitude. Gratitude, when it comes to mindfulness, is the understanding that we have enough. Whatever we have, it is enough. And that because of that, it's easier to function when we function from a place where we perceive that we have enough, that we have what we need. It's easier to function from that place than it is to function from a place of scarcity or a place of lack. Years ago, my family went through a very difficult time. My husband was having serious medical concerns. We were both underemployed. At one time, we were unemployed at the same time. And then we were underemployed based on our experience and our education and our skills. But we were underemployed. Needless to say, we were barely making it. It was we were in a financial struggle. And I share this story, and I've shared it with a number of people, but I share the story because our daughters, who are now in their 20s, were little. They were like 5 and 3 at the time. And during that time when we just had, it seemed like, oh, life was hard. Life was more than hard for us. Um, However, our daughters don't remember that. Our daughters don't remember the struggle. Our daughters don't remember when the lights were turned off. Our daughters don't remember when the phones were turned off. Our daughters don't remember when our car was repossessed. Our daughters don't remember those things. Our daughters, um, Christmas time, when it was time to, you know, buy lots of toys and presents for them. Um, our daughters didn't know that we didn't have the capacity to purchase them lots of things. Um, our family, our family blessed us. Our family blessed us. And I'm saying that again, our family blessed us. That's part of gratitude, knowing that we're interconnected. But our family blessed us. We also took a different view of, as a family, my husband and I took a different view of gift giving. We started doing small things throughout the year and decided that, hey, we can't wait until Christmas to buy lots of stuff. If we were in the store and we had the money, had a little extra, and our girls wanted something, we did it. But we also spent a lot of time together. That was the best gift that we could give each other. We spent a lot of time, and that was enough for us. We were able to get through that time period, and it was an extended period of time. Now, I'm not saying it was here and it was gone. It wasn't. And we were in the moment. um, we got through that period of time because, not because we were looking at what we didn't have. We stood on what we had, and we knew that we had each other. We were together. We had each other. We had our daughters, and we stood together. It was enough for us. So, gratitude is not always being, um, gratitude is not always just thanking others, or looking at, all the wonderful things that you have and being thankful for it. Gratitude is about knowing that what you need, you have, and it is enough. Wherever you are, what place you're in, it is enough for you at the time. At the time. I'll at some point talk a little bit more about that. Of course, this isn't the time to do that, but it is a story that I do share with people because it's our daughters just didn't know. And when we talk about it, they're like, really? We didn't know that. We didn't realize that. But because we had friends, because we had family who loved us, and we were connected, we had enough. We had enough. And that enough got us through. And that we are eternally, I am eternally grateful for that. Gratitude is knowing that we have enough. Okay. Generosity. Generosity is um, knowing that when we have enough, that we can again function out of our abundance. Now, with generosity, we often talk about giving. And yes, giving is we have time, we have energy, we have um, ourselves to give. It's not always about money, right? Generosity is sharing a smile. I today, just today, I had someone who I was communicating with about a workshop that I'm holding on September 18th. I'll share a little bit about that before we close. And um, she said, how generous of you to share this with us so that we can post it on our social media. And I was thinking, generous? How generous of me? Look at what you're doing for me. That was such a wonderful. I thought that was a gift for me to hear that. I was like, you're being generous with me. How about that? But we can be generous with each other with just a word. Her saying that to me meant the world to me. And it was just so, I thought it was so kind of her to say that when in my mind, they're being generous with me to share their social platform with me. Generosity is to remember that we are a community and we have so much more to give. It's not about money, it's about time, it's about effort sometimes, it's about energy, sometimes it's about a smile, and sometimes it's about one word. One word. Curiosity. Okay, so we know that that phrase, curiosity killed the cat, satisfaction brought him back. But curiosity is being fully present, perceiving the present moment, being in the experience, taking it all in, not functioning in the future, not functioning in the past, and not moving on autopilot. Have you ever gone from point A to point B and you're like, you've missed something? Like construction, right? You're driving and you didn't notice that they were putting up a building, or you didn't notice how far the construction what had progressed because you were driving on autopilot. Or did you just drive past something and then someone else said, "Hey, did you see the sign that was on the corner? That's new." And you're like, "No, I didn't notice that." Driving on autopilot. We do that often. We move on autopilot. Curiosity allows us to take in the entire experience in detail, just like um, a child's being a childlike mind, a beginner's mind, being able to take it all in, the details, being curious, asking questions, not being bored, but being curious because you don't want to miss anything. anything. Being curious, kindness. I talked a little bit about kindness earlier. Kindness is like a fabric softener. You know, you put fabric softener in your wash and it softens your clothes. Kindness softens a lot of things. Kindness chases away anger, harshness, judgment, and it eases hard feelings. Kindness is a kindness goes a long, long way. Last but not least, there's humor. Okay, so humor is just finding amusement in our experiences, being able to laugh at things, not taking our life or ourselves too seriously. Laughter, humor creates space. It creates space for coming together. It creates space for conversation. It creates space for communication. Humor is the key to building bridges. All of these things are foundational attitudes of mindfulness, and they all help us to create an amazing lifestyle. They are very key to us. And if we can incorporate them into our life, we will find that we are peaceful, we are calm, and we are approaching life with a beginner's mind, with humor, with gratitude, with patience, and all of the other things that I talked about previously. Before I go, I want to share with you that on September 18th, I will be sharing a workshop, and the workshop is, I'm sorry, I should have had the title in front of me. The workshop, just save the date. You're going to be hearing about it. You're going to be hearing about it quite often. Also, if you have not done so, go to this link and sign up for our newsletter, because everyone who has the newsletter will get first information about the topic. It's called Breaking Barriers, and it's about self-care. That'll give you a hint. So sign up for the newsletter so you will learn firsthand how to register for this workshop. It is free. It is a free workshop that I am sharing with you, and I want to see you there. I hope you'll join me. I'm excited to offer it because I believe that we need to learn how to take good care of ourselves. And sometimes it's difficult for us to do so because as women, we think we don't have the time, we can't say no, we're spread too thin. And I'm going to share with you how you can do that. I'm also going to share with you some of the underlying beliefs that prevent us from self care, from consistent self care. So please sign up for the newsletter so that you can get the first information about our workshop that we're conducting on September 18th. Again, it's free. It's free, and it's all for you. Well, that's all for now. I'm Marcyline Bailey. Thank you for joining me. I'm so glad that you did. I look forward to seeing you next time on Stress Talk Live with Marcyline. Take good care. I think.